Hi friends, welcome to Unit 5. In our last unit, we talked about Jean Valjean and his change of heart and his motives. We're going to talk about a little more about his story today, and I'm going to read you a little excerpt from the book Les Mis and what happened in his mind as this was going on. Today we're going to be thinking about our current stories and what we're telling ourselves about each of our rise up statements. And then in the next unit, we're going to start looking at the truth and seeing how we can reconcile our current stories with the truth. And so as I read this story, I wrote it in Challenge 2 of Find Your Path. It's on page 38. I want you to look for principles that show how this change is made, what it was that caused him to make that mental shift, and how you can apply that to your life. So this happens right after he leaves the bishop's house, and he's walking down the road and he steals a coin from a little boy. And he kind of starts to realize that his current story about who he is not in alignment with what he just saw at the bishop's house. And so he's trying to figure out how to reconcile the two. So this is what it says. His legs suddenly buckled under him, as though some unseen power had struck him down with all the weight of his guilty conscience. He sank exhausted onto a piece of rock with his hands clutching his hair and his head between his knees, and he exclaimed, "Vile wretch that I am." His heart overflowed, and he wept for the first time in 19 years. When he left the bishop's dwelling, Jean Valjean, as we know, had been in a state of mind unlike anything he had ever experienced before, and was quite unable to account for what was taking place within him. He had sought to harden his heart against the old man's saintly act and moving words. "You have promised me to become an honest man. I am buying your soul. I am rescuing it from the spirit of perversity and giving it to God." The words constantly returned to him, and he sought to suppress them with arrogance, which in all of us is the strongest hold of evil. Obscurely he perceived that the priest's forgiveness was the most formidable assault he had ever sustained, that if he resisted it, his heart would be hardened once and for all, and that if he yielded, he must renounce the hatred which the acts of men had implanted in him during so many years, and to which he clung. He saw dimly that this time he must either conquer or be conquered, that the battle was now joined, a momentous and decisive battle between the evil in himself and the goodness of that other man. Okay, so as we are looking at our current story, what we're telling ourselves about each of our goals, I want you guys to look at those principles and start to see what they could represent in your life. And as you're looking through those, and I'm going to put a little picture of this story below so you can look at it in more detail and start to pick out some of the principles. I'll also put the PDF of the truth statement of the current story below so you can look at that and write your own current story in your journal or write on there if you want to print it. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say.